Welcome to BOMAQtalk. It's Friday. This is the final week of the series where we have been setting some context and stepping through 5 AI digital asset lifecycle stages. Today we'll do the last 2 stages, stage 4 and stage 5. We have been sharing with our target market examples of how we are stepping through 3 levels of upskilling, business transformation, and AI integration at our firm over this past year and a half, and where we stand today in that, right? So 3 levels: generative AI, AI agents, agentic AI. We started with producing content using AI, right? And moved into AI agents. This series talks about how every AI agent must be treated as a first class digital identity, right? And we had to learn that. We had to, and we're still stepping through, that's why we're BOMAC talking it out, stepping through how to manage that in a hybrid organization, right? And so AI agents sit in this new category of non-human identities, right? So where they were these static digital identities, twins of a human, right? So once this is understood and infrastructure is put in place in terms of policy, procedures, processes, and those types of things, agentic AI can work well for the firm. Agentic AI, as we understand it, consists of 2 categories. So we have the single agent workflows, right? And the agentic AI can function with just one intelligent agent. In this setup, a single LLM powered agent breaks down a goal, plans the sequence of steps, and uses various tools independently to complete the entire task. Then the next category is the multi-agent systems. This pattern consists of multiple specialized AI agents working collaboratively, acting in unison to tackle complex workflows, where each agent handles maybe a specific subtask or a task within the entire process, right? So this discussion and framework is part of a larger effort and context. And that's kind of why in the first 2 sessions, prior to going into the stages, we wanted to set the specific context to which we are inserting this information, right? So the context of the firm will be different than the context of any other owner, manager, administrator that may be listening to this content, right? So as you attempt to glean and apply and implement perhaps some of the content that you are gaining from this BOMAC talk, um, keep in mind that one caveat that it will differ per situation, per industry, per business type, right? So consult, get a consultant, right? We have consultant services, we offer consultant services. And then when it comes to implementation and applying those principles, those solutions from the consultant session, then we have what you call managed services, right? We can manage it for you over a period of time if you don't have the team or the capacity to implement the solutions that may be provided in your consultant sessions. Then perhaps maybe you do have the team, but you don't have the tools. You don't have the tools, you don't have the systems. And we offer through Cube Engineered Solutions technology specific to the way that the firm manages projects within the industries we serve, right? So you can have a subscription for consultant services, a subscription for managed services, or a subscription for technology services, or in uh, depending on your need, you can have a service mix of integrated services on a subscription plan, right? So this is new to the firm this year, the way that we are restructuring our fees. And so just wanted to put in that shameless plug, appropriately placed, so that you our owners, managers, administrators can be aware, again, of how we are applying and implementing some of the AI integration and changes that is disrupting all of our industries, right? So this hour, stage 4, deprovisioning, the moment of departure, right? In the original series, we described this as the highest stakes moment in the life cycle because the window between a person leaving and their access being revoked is the most, acute exposure window, right? In the entire, when we're talking about employment relationships, right? So, and that remains true, right? Even in the age of AI, what's new is a specific AI era risk, AI agent orphaning. A ghost account is a departed employee's human credentials that were never revoked. An orphaned AI agent is an active AI system authorized by a departed employee operating under their credentials or credentials they provisioned that continues running, taking actions, accessing data, generating outputs after the employee has left. The employee is gone. The AI isn't. And unlike a ghost account, which is passive until someone uses it, an orphan AI agent may be actively executing workflows at machine speed. And if credentials are properly deprovisioned, even though the employee is gone, they are not gone. They are still in your system. Right. So, uh, and I just sat in a trustees meeting this week where I was made aware that at the university level, they are battling ghost accounts created, possibly created with AI, um, for students. The ghost account is created for a student digital identity. They assess how to get accepted to the university. They apply, they get approved uh, to be a student. Um, they get approved to enter a program. They get approved for financial aid, and it's not a real person. They find out after an individual has ascertained all the benefits of student enrollment, um, that was that the account was actually a ghost account. There's nobody there. There's nobody really truly trying to be a student and trying to finish a program, just trying to reap the benefits um, uh, um, of being a student um, at the organization and taking advantage, infiltrating the systems, right? So that was uh, newly brought. I hadn't even I don't think we have even stepped through something like that in our examples. But they just keep coming. They just keep coming. Things that you don't think about, right? Um, and we can use AI to audit AI because it can generate all these scenarios that you may, because they're new to all of us, most of us. There's going to be new situations that, oh, I didn't even think about that. I didn't even think to do something like that. So these masterminds, instead of using their genius for good, they're using their genius for uh, bad. And so uh, you have to constantly be aware that there are bad agents um, out there working against your system, your agentic system, right? And so being prepared for that, right? So AI agent orphaning, 3 failure modes. Say a senior analyst spends 3 years building sophisticated AI-assisted workflows. An agent that monitors industry news, compiles weekly briefings, automates prompt workflows, generating client performance reports, and AI integration, routing incoming data to the appropriate team members, right? So the AI agent monitors industry news, compiles weekly briefings, um, and automated prompt workflow. Uh, it automates the prompt workflow, generating client performance reports. Um, it integrates uh, and routes incoming data to the appropriate team members. Okay, so these workflows are valuable. The firm depends on them. Nobody registered them as organizational assets or ensured they operated under organizational credentials, right? So then the analyst leaves. Standard offboarding deactivates email and laptop. Primary system logins are revoked, but the AI agents were authorized under API keys. The analyst set up, authorized under the API keys the analyst set up in personal accounts linked to third-party AI platforms, right? Not uncommon. I'm sure if you're listening, you're shaking your head like, yeah, we do that. The keys are not in the firm's credentials management system because they were never registered there, right? They're in their personal accounts that they still have access to even after they leave. The agents continue running, the briefings keep arriving, the reports keep generating. 3 failure modes from here. Failure mode 1, the analyst closes their personal account. The API key is revoked. Everything breaks simultaneously with no documentation of how the workflows were built. There's knowledge management that is lost, right? The firm needed, the firm depended on them. The workflows were valuable, right? And so when that person left, now that knowledge, how was it built? How was it done? How did that report end up in our box? Is lost because it was not recorded or the process was not put in place to have organizational credentials and to chart uh, how that system worked, right? Um, the process, the procedure, the steps. Um, Failure mode 2, the analyst who still controls the API key accesses the agent logs and sees everything the firm has been doing since they left, right? Failure mode number 3, the AI agents operating under stale credentials without human oversight begin making errors that go undetected because nobody is reviewing their outputs anymore, right? So the AI agent orphaning risks snapshot is operational failure when personal API keys are eventually revoked, unauthorized access by the departed employee through persistent agent credentials, undetected errors in autonomous workflows operating without oversight, potential data exfiltration through agents that retain access to firm systems. All four can occur simultaneously at AI speed from a single unregistered AI agent, right? So prevention, consider this option for prevention: AI agent registry, a living document maintained continuously that records every AI agent and automated workflow in organizational use, the credentials under which it operates, the identity responsible for its maintenance, the organizational account it should be migrated to, and the designated successor if that person leaves. Without this registry, organizations discover orphaned agents when something breaks, when something goes wrong, or when an audit finds them, right? And so, um, uh, two different ways: creating that AI agent registry, having a policy in place to say, okay, this is how we handle AI agents within the organization. They need to be under organizational credentials. They need to be registered in the AI agent registry. They need to forego ever so often, we would say monthly, quarterly, annually, an audit to make sure that those policies are being followed, right? So, um, uh, and then we are a firm who builds infrastructures, frameworks, and of course, those involve assessments and they involve checklists, right? So um, the AI exit checklist may be a tool that may be a benefit to you in these situations. The exit checklist for an AI integrated firm uh, is organized by all 8 asset subcategories, right? So we established some of these categories in the first session. Just kind of reiterate category 1, access credentials, AI agent credentials. Traditionally, revoke email, core app logins, device access, rotate shared passwords, and SSH keys. AI additions in the disruption of this uh, tech act, revoke all AI platform accounts provisioned under organizational or team credentials, inventory all personal API keys the departing person used for firm work, assess whether they assess whether any active AI agents are running under those keys, rotate any shared API credentials the person had access to the incoming person or to the individuals who's heading that division or the firm, right? Or the areas concerning technology. Um, Transfer ownership of AI platform accounts that need to continue operating, right? So category 1, um, stepping through the process of we are now deprovisioning. We were provisioning, now we're deprovisioning, right? So category 2, work products plus AI generations. Traditionally, inventory and transfer client deliverables, archive completed work products, transfer code repository access. In the age of AI additions that you will have to do to deprovision for deprovisioning is inventory the prompt library and classify each item as firm IP, personal IP, or jointly developed, right? Transfer firm-owned prompt libraries to the organizational repository. Assess ownership of fine-tuned models or RAG knowledge bases, RAG knowledge bases the person contributed to. Confirm AI-generated work products are in the organizational archive, not only in personal AI accounts, right? A lot more work. A lot more work. And it's harder to manage it because it's some of it is intangible. It's intangible, where the others are a lot more tangible. Um, uh, if you are issuing um, um, organizational accounts for software and for hardware, it'd be easier to monitor, right? Um, but in the cases where uh, the policy is gray as to whether or not individuals can utilize um, personal hardware and software to produce products and deliver service for organization, then it gets even trickier because it's in systems to which are disconnected to the organizational system. So category three, something to think about, something to think about. Um, Category three, communication trails, plus the AI context. Traditionally, email archive preserved per retention policy, um, communication trail accessible to authorized successors. AI additions revoke access to AI note taker archives from client engagements. Assess the vector memory state of AI tools used for client facing work. Determine whether it requires partitioning, preservation, or reset. Transfer AI maintained context databases from personal to organizational accounts. And if it's in personal, and this individual, um, uh, it should be in the agreement prior to exit, right? When they come in, and that's why we're BOMAQ talking about this, because if individuals are already um, uh, a member of the organization, and these policies have not been a part of their agreement, then there may need to be some updates to those agreements so that you're able to easily, at the time of exit, to say, okay, we need to transfer any of the AI maintained contact databases from those personal accounts to organizational accounts, right? So um, category four, corporate footprint plus AI logs. In traditional settings, human capital record is archived, payroll closed, expense history preserved. Um, uh, AI additions now we're preserving AI system interaction logs per the retention policy, right? So the retention policy have to be put in place to do, to do it per the retention policy. So this may be a new item, archive AI performance, and the retention policy for tradition versus AI additions may differ, right? So um, archive AI performance monitoring data and inform the departing person what data exists, how long it will be retained. In jurisdictions subject to automated decision-making regulations, honor the person's right to access an explanation for AI-generated assessments at the point of departure, right? And so this exit checklist, the principle behind it is that The AI exit checklist is only executable if the AI agent registry and some of the AI agent policies and the ongoing AI context inventory um, are maintained throughout um, the the membership of the individual employment or whatever the relationship may be. Organizations that skip ongoing AI governance spend days reconstructing the exit picture, right? And as you integrate this, there may be there will be a revamping of some systems, and you may have to um, add policy to previous agreements. And so organizations would clean AI audit records completed uh, in hours, right? So if you have some of these things in place, it's faster to find these things. Now, if you are, um, according to the SBA, there's anywhere from 85% of business owners who don't have employees, right? But for the percentage of those individuals who do, even there's a large group who are under 10 employees, right? And so this process is easier when you have a smaller group to monitor and you can kind of do one-on-one. But as you are getting into mid-market businesses and larger entities who have 50 or more employees, uh, the speed element into which you're able to um, implement and operate this system becomes, you may even need a team to do it, right? So, um, but whether you are small or large, we have that same principle in mind. Whatever systems and infrastructures, frameworks that you have in place, when you're small, if they are operating well, they should translate to larger numbers, right? Um, Large situations where you have more than 10 employees or individuals or even digital identities, right? We are looking at multiple digital identities that may even outnumber uh, human uh, members. So even in those situations, the framework, the infrastructure, the systems, and the tools become even more important to assist in managing um, those hybrid situations. So tiered offboarding for AI heavy roles. The tiered offboarding model. Um, um, so tier one is those immediate high risk terminations. Tier two, standard voluntary departures. They got a job somewhere else. They made a life decision and it's agreeable. Tier three for planned transitions. You got a promotion internally. Um, the role is being phased out. It's mutually beneficial. Um, Needs, each one of these tiers need AI specific tier criteria, right? So um, AI access scope should be a primary factor alongside traditional criteria. of seniority and departure circumstances. So a mid-level employee, sorry, this is example, a mid-level employee who has been building and maintaining complex AI workflows with broad system access may require tier one protocols despite a standard um, app, a standard, departure. An executive with minimal AI integration footprint may be manageable under tier two. The AI agent registry is the instrument that makes this tier assessment accurate, right? So for tier one AI departures, immediate deactivation of AI agent credentials, immediate assessment of any autonomous AI workflows running under personal credentials, and same day transfer or quarantine of AI context assets from the client-facing tools. AI agents operating under stale credentials can cause damage at machine speed, right? Or AI agents operating under bad actors, right, can cause damage at machine speed. So the response there must match the velocity of the risk, right? So, and this will be a judgment call, right? This is a judgment call because we're dealing with uh, right now we don't have any AI agents who may be high risk terminations, but um, so in this instance, we are still talking about the hybrid situations um, and human tiers, right? Um, it may be high risk in that um, the situation, the way that a particular project is charting, it's of high importance to offboard a particular agent because it's not working for that project, that client, or we found out that the agent um, was producing bad data. So it's um, of high importance um, to offboard a particular agent, right? So let's get into just to review through some examples that are industry specific. These are industries, owners, managers, administrators, and industries to which we serve with either consultant services, managed services, or technology frameworks, processes, systems, and tools, right? So, because ultimately, broken operational foundations are the things that trigger risks like ghost accounts, agent orphaning, and offboarding gaps across varying industries. Um, Standardizing, right? So we've always talked about how we productize how we standardize our service. So standardizing lifecycle management um, and enforcing, and this is a trade, kind of like a trade lingo, zero trust protocols, and building AI uh, sunset capabilities are crucial to migrating these risks, right? So let's kind of step through a couple problems in industry and then propose a solution that you might want to consider. So education, the problem that we're setting up is when an adjunct professor, right? We've been an adjunct, we've been adjunct professor and even hired, um, been interim director and hired um, adjunct professors um, since the early 2000s. No, oh no, the late 19, yeah, like maybe from 19, mm, It's been a while. It's been a while. I can't pinpoint it. It's been so far back. But in any case, very familiar with this role. And so the problem that we're setting up is when an adjunct professor leaves, their credentials often linger, creating ghost accounts. Similarly, automated AI tutor agents set up by an instructor are sometimes abandoned at the end of the semester without being revoked, right? So this is an example of AI agent orphaning, leaving sensitive curriculum data exposed, right? Um, so the solution um, that you may want to consider is to implement automated identity lifecycle management that syncs the learning management system with the human capital or student database system. So for AI agents, um, deploy these agent registries with mandatory expiration dates and periodic reauthent, uh, reauthentication protocols, right? So they over time you're auditing and double checking that they're still applicable and the credentials are still valid. Let's mosey over to technology. Technology, um, we're having lots of fun developing products, AI products using AI agents and generative AI. So and other agent systems. So the problem, developers deploy experimental throwaway AI coding agents to speed up prototyping. When the developer moves to a new project or leaves the company, these agents linger in the pipeline, retaining production API keys and database access. If these orphaned agents malfunction or hallucinate without being monitored, corrected, or assessed, they can inadvertently alter or delete code bases, depending on the situation, right? So consider the solution of enforcing continuous monitoring and API key rotation. Adopt a policy of revoke by default for offboarded staff and mandate that all AI agents are tied to a centralized lifecycle management platform that includes those automatic kill switches, right? So um, moving along to construction. Um, Construction firms utilize many subcontractors and transient field workers, right? So upon project completion, many worker accounts remain active. Furthermore, AI agents deployed to automate white collar tasks like invoice matching or blueprint or construction document data extraction are frequently abandoned without a clear handoff to the new project managers, right? So consider the solution of utilizing construction-specific access governance tools that tie account access strictly to project timelines and project manager owners or project owners, right? This can be the principal owner, the project lead, project manager, or senior project manager. Um, establishing the key is to establish clear ownership chains for AI, where every agent is mapped to a specific human project manager who is responsible for its auditing and ongoing performance. Right? Okay. So, uh, business specific, business specific problem. Um, and fast scaling teams. Um, as discussed, employees may use personal or departmental unmonitored tools, creating what we call shadow IT and ghost accounts. If these are not flagged during offboarding, these former employees can maintain access to proprietary company data. Additionally, AI sales or customer service agents that connect to live CRM databases are often abandoned when the organizing marketing campaign ends, right? Um, Consider the solution of requiring comprehensive access reviews and strict offboarding checklists. For AI, adopt a LifeCycle documentation to formally define who supervises and maintains the agent throughout its life cycle, right? So you have to become aware enough of how your organization is charting through its service delivery, product delivery, and what tools and systems are being used by the individuals on the project team, right? To be able to implement these solutions. So it sounds great top down, but really bottom up, you'll have understanding the nuts and bolts of how the organization is built, right? It's very important to recreate, right? We always say, do you know the rhythm of your work? Let's say something we've always kind of coined to say, um, talking about the rhythm of your work and the genius within. Because if you understand the rhythm of your work, then that's when creation begins. You can recreate once you understand. But if you do not understand, then it's going to be hard to be able to recreate some of these systems utilizing and integrating AI. So let's multimedia problem. Freelance creators. Yeah, freelance creators, they using generative AI to produce and create content, use numerous platforms and plugins. If offboarding involves simply changing main passwords rather than revoking API access, tokens and sub-accounts, ghost accounts remain. Regarding AI, creative teams routinely spin up specialized generative AI agents to scrape competitive data or to generate content assets. If these agents are unmanaged, they can expose sensitive pre-launch intellectual property, right? So this is the problem. This is the problem. So consider the solution of implementing strict zero trust access by routinely on a routine basis, routinely on a routine basis, auditing third-party application connections. Ensure AI workflows feature human in the loop validation and use contained sandboxed environments to prevent unmonitored AI agents from accessing pre-published assets or leaking, learning from, or acquiring your data. All right. So BOMAQ talking it out, BOMAQ talking it out. And if you have, like I said, depending on industry, depending on the type of business, the type of owner, because owners, managers, administrators have a different leadership style, have a different management style. And that's in addition to in an industry where you are positioned in that industry. Are you on the high end? Or are you mid market? Or are you in the um, uh, startup stage in the lower tier of that industry? Um, how you approach this may differ um, depending upon that. And then the type of business. Um, are you a brick and mortar, or are you just online? What the business model is. So um, lots of BOMAQ talk about, and it's not cookie cutter. It will need the frameworks to which we are discussing and BOMAQ talking um, will differ. How you apply them and implement them would differ depending on uh, several factors. Right. So the final session of the series, we just went through stage 4. Final session will be stage 5. That's in the next hour. Retention and destruction. What happens to the AI footprint after the person is gone? The prompts, the outputs, the logs, the AI performance assessments, the 6 post-employment AI data subcategories, the training data problem, and what happens when a departed employee's work was used to train a model the firm continues to use, right? So the uh um last final session in the series, um uh we close with it. Join me again in the next hour and after this break.